I'm a little bit scatty today.
That's okay.
But Al and Catch were just incredible, the way that they shared the information. It was a little bit different format. They kind of, the feeling that we got at the end of after chatting to them at the end, they were kind of like, they were sort of had a bit of a template to follow, but went, that's not what they need to hear. So they were very heart-based. It was very much about just back into that heart space and stop thinking in your head, bringing it back into your heart, which was awesome. They dropped a few sort of knowledge bombs around. A big one that I sort of took away was they were kind of debunking the you share, they share system a little bit, in that they were kind of like, we're setting ourselves up for a little bit of not failure, but you go ahead and you're talking about you share, they share with everyone, drawing that out.
Yeah.
But people are then thinking, they share it with two, and then those two particular people are going to share it. And we all know that that's not the case. So, generally speaking, that's not the case, especially in that sort of 60-day period. So they were kind of really big on the fact of, okay, well, if you're showing people how to share, why not then focus on getting them to show them how to share really well with 10 people, and then do that sort of in a, whether that's text a few or whatever it is, like a system of where you can actually get them to share with 10, and then there's probably a good chance then that they're going to go manager within that time frame if you've got that part all sorted and really nailed. So it was kind of a little bit like, because I know myself, you're kind of looking at sharing it with two, and then you're like, right, so let's help these two people now. And it's not always the case of where it sort of it works to the next step. So it just a bit disillusions everyone, I think, when we're talking about like that. So I really enjoyed that. What else were they really big on?
They just jumped on. Managed experience and takeaways from Super Saturday.
What else were we talking about, Charles? Can you think of throwing you straight in the deep end?
How did you find Super Saturday, Talia? What were your takeaways? I think we lost her. Oh, okay. I'll unmute her. You're unmuted, Talia. How did you find Super Saturday?
Sorry.
You're right.
Oh, wait. Am I talking?
Yeah, you're good. We got you.
It just like blanked out. It was frozen for a bit there, so I had no idea what was going on.
I saw your face. It was like this.
Yeah, I was like, hey, guys. Hi, how you going?
Yeah, good. So just, what were your takeaways from Super Saturday?
Oh, look, I really resonated with the speakers. I thought they were really chill and easy to kind of listen to. So I felt like I was really comfortable being there. And I think my biggest takeaway, looking at like reflecting on last year and this year's one, I felt like it clicked a little bit more for me. And the way that they explained things when it came to obviously the whole comp plan and everything like that, just looking at it in a bit of a different way. I thought that was really cool to kind of open my eyes to see that, okay, like, the breakdown of it's a little bit different, and, the whole thing of just talking about, looking at yourself and how you're being really authentic with people, that really got me. And I was like, you know what? I don't know why I kind of hold myself back, because it's no one else that does it. It's me that I go, I can talk to these people because of this reason. So it made me really look at myself and go, okay, well, I can do it in an easier way that doesn't put as much stress on me. So that's fine.
Yeah, and it's sort of like you let go of the expectation, right, of needing to help someone or to convince them, and you just come from that authentic space. And you've got such an amazing story as well, and also being so young, like it's awesome to see you having these sort of breakthroughs already.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's a big thing, Roz, that they really did touch on, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, was creating a realistic expectation. Like they were really big at drawing that out, like a 10-year plan. Like, people get to the third year, but they look back and reflect, and maybe they came into it and they had never done any personal development before. They had never been in this kind of industry. Like, they had so much, there was nothing that they had no experience beforehand. And then they come in and they get to year 3 and they're not they're not seeing the results, or they're cycling 2 or 3 times and kind of feeling really, really shitty about themselves and give up. And so they were really focused around, you've got to look at this as a 10-year plan. Sure, people might hit platinum by the 3rd year, but you don't know the story before that. And the story before that was lots of years of, personal, all that sort of stuff. Whereas they were just like, they fully believed, they were, talking about the fact that if you stay in, you do the action to whatever pace that is to you, 10 years, you've got to get to that level of financial freedom of what it looks like for you. So it was really, they were so realistic, and really broke it down for everyone, so that, especially for anyone new who was coming along, there was no thoughts around the fact that this is going to be a quick fix or anything. They really set that standard straight up. Talked about the looking zone. Sorry, Tals?
It was a journey. Like, I liked that they described it as a journey. It's not just you do it, get your money, you go. It's a continual process of being like, okay, cool, like, it's a continual process of like, need to put in at least some effort to actually get the gains in the end, which made me kind of go, like, you can't just do it and then nothing happens.
And that's really cool as well. And like, I think, it's good to, obviously, Mandy, if you have the family going with you as well. And we've got Shannon and Jody there as well. Did you guys end up making it up to Super Saturday?
Yeah, we did.
And how did you find it? So that would have been your first event.
Yeah, it was, apart from celebration, it was our first event. It was pretty good. It was awesome.
We can't hear you. Could you come a little bit closer to the speaker?
Sorry. Awesome. Exactly what Mandy said about it was really good to learn and to appreciate that we're on a journey. Not going to happen. It's a journey.
Yeah, that's awesome.
They went over like a lot of the objectives. Like, I felt like it was all going to happen like straight away. Like it didn't. In the dumps for a bit there. After that, to the Saturday, they made the process a bit better for me. I had to now that it's a journey. It's not just going to happen. Like, it's not a quick fix out of anything. The objections they went through were like very relevant to me.
Yeah, that's epic. Hey, I'm gonna say thank you to everyone that just shared as well, and thanks Shan and Jodes and Talia and Mandy. We've got Cameron on, so Cam, do you want to? I know you're all hot and sweaty because you just come from the gym, but
it's okay.
For those
did I get the time room, the time zones wrong?
Yeah, no, you're good. We're here. So
oh my God, I'm so sorry.
No, it's all good. We're just we're doing some takeaways from Super Saturday that the guys went to in Perth, so that was all good. But for those of you that don't know Cam, I'll give you a quick introduction. And Cam, what I'll do is I'll make it just a bit of a dialogue, because I think everyone's really curious, and I'm curious as to how you helped Hope get to executive in 2 months, being the age you are, and also how you girls enrolled 20 people in a week. So I imagine the how to that, the process, and actually the work that went in was a little bit more well thought out than just enroll 20 people. So we'll break that apart. And I guess for everyone that's on, meet the BFREE team. These guys are from the southwest of WA, Australia. We got Hunty and that over in the East Coast. We've got some of the crew down in Albany. We've got Laura and Fib and Vic. So and Cam's actually living in Bali, same as me at the moment. So she's a young girl living her dream as well, which is sick. And she's obviously a really good network marketer, and she's figured out how to create a bit of freedom so that she can live over here and work from here as well. And Cam's just a really humble soul, guys. So Cam, let's take it away. Do you want to just quickly tell your 30-second business story so people can get a little bit of a background of you, and then we'll go into the how of the promotion that you just did.
Yeah, sure. First off, I apologize for getting the time zones wrong. I thought it was like 6 p.m. here, which meant 6 p.m. Anyway, I'm sorry and I apologize. My 30-second story. So before Isogenics, I watched my best friends Reese and Morgan build Isogenics from the get-go. So I'm from the United States, and I moved over to Australia back in 2015. And within the first 2 weeks, I was introduced to Isogenics, but it actually took me 2 years to actually get on board. So I watched all of my friends do their thing, have fun, have all this energy, and really just live the life of residual income. And I kind of just sat and watched in the background. So I went on to compete, and I won a couple world titles, which got me onto Team Isogenics, which was really cool. But basically, I started on the product for the energy aspect. I was sick and tired of being overwhelmed from the gym, and my muscles were always sore, and I needed something to just get my energy back. And I was also super, super interested in the opportunity. So mainly I got on board for the opportunity. And my very first week, I invited 6 friends to do it with me, and as a result, you know, I made over $1,300 US, I believe, or something like that. And at the time, I was on a visa run in Australia, going to Thailand to come back. And when I came back, they detained me. And, you know, as an irresponsible 23-year-old, I had a nice income, but I didn't have a savings account because I just spent it traveling and partying. I was very irresponsible with my money at the time. So I only had about $70 in my bank account, which is insane because I was expecting to go back to work, right? This is before, like, first week in Isogenics. And, you know, I was hysterically crying, and I checked my emails, and that's whenever that same day, it was a Monday, I got a notification that I got paid the $1,300, and that got me back to the United States, which was like the biggest blessing. So that was when the light bulb actually went off for me. And then from then, I figured, you know, if this could be the safety net for me, I could only imagine what I could do for other people. And that's when I completely just went balls to the wall, I guess, and just ran with this business as hard as I could. So that's a little bit about my story, and I'm actually in a run this week, which is super cool. But I just wanted to let you guys know how I go about my enrollment and how I get these big weeks and stuff like that. So first and foremost, I really, yeah.
Just before we go into that, so
yeah.
You got to executive, yeah?
Yeah.
That's now, and we'll just guide this conversation a little bit. So, when did you and Hope decide that you were going to actually, going to do a campaign and you know, really commit to it?
Yeah.
I'm sure it all relate to, like, you know, saying we're going to do it, but then never actually committing. And the conversation you told me was like how you cleared the entire calendar, and it was like one single focus, right?
Yeah.
Put all the other shiny objects to the side and said, you know, shit, we're going to do this. So when did that level of commit? When did you decide to actually do that? What was the trigger? What was the thing that drove you to say enough's enough?
Well, I was working really, really closely with Hope, and she didn't do anything special other than exactly what I told her to do, basically. So I told her, put me in as many 3-way calls as you possibly can, and she had me up from like 6 a.m., you know, for hours doing these calls back to back to back. So the duplication was there, and that's how she went from manager to director so quick. And she was stuck at director for, like, I think maybe 2 weeks, which isn't long to be stuck at director. And I was like, okay, so we're going to come up with a plan to get you to executive. And I found that doing groups is the best way to rank advance, just because you have structure, you can plan it, you know what you're doing, and you have something to work towards. So that's whenever we started, we were like, we're going to do this BBB, which is the Bedtime Belly Buster Challenge.
Yeah.
So we sat down, we got on FaceTime, same with Chelsea, who also works over here in Bali, and we all wrote out our goals and how we were going to go about it. We all created content together, and we just basically put a lot of hype around something that's just so simple. It's just a group page, just like a 16-week challenge, for example. It's just a group page with a whole bunch of hype around it, and that's what we do to aim for these rank advancements.
Okay, so you created basically a holding group, right? So you girls went out and chatted, and then similar to what we did, I guess, guys, with the Be Well Summer or the Summer Reset that we had, and then you put them into a group, created a lot of hype, a lot of I guess proof of concept, and a lot of before and afters and energy and conversations. And did you find that was the one thing that helped people then, well, have a system or a process to feed into, but then also a space where you could hold that space so you could then enroll them down the track? Sorry, you there, Cam?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, so was that the process? Is you just went out and chatted, put them in a group, created hype, and then rolled them from there?
Yeah, so basically we had a content page. So the team that was running with it would be in this content page where we would write up some templates and we give them to everybody. So it's just a simple invitation that everybody can send out to 100 people. And that's what we made the goal. Send this out to 100 people. It was friendly, it's inviting, it's not intimidating. So people were less scared to send it out. But as a result, more people are inclined to say, yeah, add me to a group than, yeah, I want to do it. You know what I mean? So we sent out all these invitations in this separate group of content, and everybody had the same tools, the same stuff to post on their Instagram stories, and we all ran for it together.
And so what was the invitation? Like, what, I assume there was a start and an end date, so that you created a bit of urgency there?
Yeah. So it would go something like, hey, I'm getting a few of my friends together for this challenge. It's going to be fun, interactive, and 2 weeks. It's the shortest and cheapest challenge we've ever done. Would you like to be a part of the info group? Or something along those lines. And people are like, yeah. And you know, a 2-week commitment isn't long for people. So people are more inclined to say yes to something that's 2 weeks than 30 days.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Okay. And then so you got a group of girls, and Hope was one of them, to send out 100 invitations with that thing. And then what percentage of people do you think said yes to join the group out of that 100?
So for me and my numbers, I probably sent out roughly, give or take, 120 messages. Out of the 120, I always believe that half of those will want to be invited into the group. So it was about 56 people I invited into the group who said yes. And then out of those 56, 23 enrolled. And because it was such a low cost, it was the numbers were higher. The numbers were doubled because the cost was lower.
Okay, this is such an important point, guys, because like you set a plan, you got a team together, you created a content group where you create a lot of hype and a lot of social proof, a lot of excitement, and then sent out 120 messages with the same template to your friends, and I assume people that you already had trust with. It was about doing a challenge, and then from that, 60 joined the group, and then 23 actually got started. And how long do you think it took from, I guess, added to the group to then people actually getting started? How'd you get them across the line that way?
So basically, we did a countdown in the group. So we hyped a countdown on our stories and a countdown in the group. But we didn't tell anybody what the information was. We're just like, get in the group. We're going to reveal on live everything about this on Sunday night. Make sure you jump on. So we hyped it with no content, just a countdown, and get excited. And then that Sunday, are you there? Then that Sunday, Chelsea and I went live, and that's whenever we told all about the challenge. We backed it by science. We completely took away all the limiting beliefs or objections right off the bat. We kicked them in the butt. And it just answered everybody's questions, and it was simple, and everyone's like, yeah, I want to do it.
That's epic. And then so 23 girls got started in that week. And what then happened from there? So I assume you have to now give service to 23 people in a really high value way. So how did you get that started? And how did you sort of systemize that?
Yeah, so, you know, in the beginning, you would think that would be a lot of people to look after, but because it's one centralized group and we're giving all this value to everybody, it was a lot easier. So every single day we had these threads. It was called a babe thread, and from there we would be like, post a picture with your shake, so that everybody would post their picture with a shake. Post your before photo, and everyone would post their before photo. Every single day we had a different thread, so it's interactive. There was a community. There was a community there, and there was accountability there. So it was all taken care of by a third party, other than Chelsea and I. We just post the thread, and everybody else holds each other accountable.
Yeah, and that's such an important process as well, because you create that engagement, that dialogue, right? And then that creates energy, and then people feed off that energy in the group, rather than it sort of being a one-way conversation. A bit like this, you know, like you're on here having a conversation with me, people are writing in the chat box. It's a bit more engaging. So finding ways to create that is, I think that's really powerful. So congratulations for doing that.
Yeah, and the biggest thing for me as well is the number one point is I use leverage to the highest degree. Like if there's any specific way I can get myself out of a situation, I'll do it, just because I believe a lot of us make it way more difficult than it should be. So if I find a way to remove myself for a different third or fourth party validation, it makes not only the whole process easier for me, but it's faster, and that's how you duplicate faster as well. So for example, this week we're doing the Gen Why Not, which is the same scenario. It's a group page, but it's based around the opportunity. And what we did was we reached out to a few of the start leaders and asked them if they could share their opportunity story in the group. They shared it online, and from there I just tagged people in the story that relates to them the most, and now they're getting touches. You know how it takes on average 12 exposures for somebody to enroll? So, and we do this all week, right? So all week we were dropping these stories. We were tagging everybody in the ones that were the most relative to them. And then we went live this morning talking about the entire presentation for like an hour, completely covering everything. So by that point, the 12 exposures already happened and people are ready to get on board on a value pack.
Yeah. And were you doing any like online launches or anything like that? Any product, Zooms or webinars or anything in those groups?
No. So basically, we just hype it and then go live, and we share all the information one time.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's really cool. And then what was like? How many people were getting on that live? I assume if you've got all the engagement and hype there was a lot of people getting on board because it was like a one-off thing rather than a regular thing.
Yeah. So for the one that we're doing this week, the numbers are a little bit lower just because the price is so much higher. But at the same time, that also weeds out the people. Like essentially, we're looking for new teammates this week. So it weeds out the ones that that can't or don't want to afford the value pack. You know what I mean? So I sent out over 130 messages this time around. I probably added 40 people into the group. And so far, I think I have like 6 enrollments.
Okay. And these ones are more for the opportunity, yeah?
Yeah, so this is the value pack only.
Yeah, so this is important as well, guys. So the first challenge she ran was more for like product users and sharers. It was a challenge, right? A health challenge that you can do with friends. And now, again, 130 messages went out, and then 60 people joined the page, and 23 people enrolled. This time, you've been more targeted, focused on business builders by Gen Why Not, yeah? And again, you sent out 130 invitations. What did the invitation sound like for this one, for a business builder?
Do you mind if I find it and read it? It's good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So this is what I said. Let's see here. 1 second. Who's the last person I talked to?
And I showed you on Facebook yet?
Yeah, so this is Facebook, this is Instagram, and we also had a content page for this as well. So we asked our teammates in the beginning, do you want to be a part of this push, yes or no? If yes, then they go into the content page where they also have access to the templates. So where is it?
What do you mean by content page or content page?
So the content page, so we have the actual group, and then we have the content page for our teammates and Gen Why Not. So like this is the Gen Why Not push content, for example. So if you are in my team, Morgan's team, or Chelsea's team, and we put out to our team, we're doing this push. If you want to be a part of it, you have to be open to sending out 100 messages and be, ready to step out of your comfort zone, because this one is a little bit harder than a typical product push. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for this one, I said, hey, not sure if you've seen what I've been up to, but I felt I'm being of disservice by not showing more of my friends how to create a residual income like I have. I use it for my passion to travel and to pay off my student loans. I know others use it for rent and to pay off other bills just to make life a little bit more breathable. If this speaks to you, I'm happy to add you to the info group we made to explain more about it, with a question mark. Always end with a question. That's what I said.
And that's it. You send that to 130 people.
Yes.
And 40 said yes to join the group, and 6 have already got started.
Yeah. So far, yeah.
Yeah. And so now let's flip to hope. So you've now done this for yourself, right? So you signed up 23 people yourself. You signed up 6 potential business builders or partners, and now you've said, well, okay, I'm going to do this with hope. So how did the story change from you doing it for yourself to then doing it for hope? What was the difference there?
Excuse me, could you repeat the question? Sorry.
So when you did it for Hope, like, so you obviously did this for yourself, right? But you're able to duplicate it, and Hope was able to do exactly the same.
Yeah.
So what would you say was the key thing with, you know, not only doing it yourself, but helping Hope do it?
The key thing is 100% mindset. You can't do this without the mindset and to be okay and allow yourself to get uncomfortable, without a doubt. Because it is uncomfortable to message 130 people. Like, those are all people that, like, by the way, these are follow-ups. These are people that I've messaged like 10 times that have never gotten back to me. You have to be okay with being uncomfortable and somebody saying no. And that is the number one key to rank events, I think, is mindset. Because anybody can do it. It's just a matter of being vulnerable and reaching out to people that you haven't in a long time, or asking for help, or all these different things. It's mindset.
Yeah, gotcha. And what did you find any, like, in terms of coaching Hope and teaching her how to do it? Did you find it quite easy with her because she was running the same system?
Yeah. So, you know, why Hope was so amazing is because she was coachable. That these aren't things that were out of the ordinary that we were not taught. Like, this is all things that we're taught at events, on Isogenics business. It's everything that we're taught, right? So I just told Hope, this is what I did to get to 2-star. Are you open to doing it to get to executive? And she said yes. And before even the group, like, I created the group because I knew that was going to get her executive. Basically, I knew that was going to help her get there, because that's what helped me get there in the get-go. So duplication. But first and foremost, she was willing to go on three-way calls, and when she was getting frustrated, I would literally tell her, talk to 100 more people, talk to 100 more people, send out 100 more messages, because the numbers don't lie at the end of the day. It's 1 out of 10 no matter what. So I just kept telling her, write down the names, talk to more people, write down the names, talk to more people. And that's not necessarily 100 conversations connecting wise, but 100 reach outs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's epic. And probably just a couple more things as well, Cam, before we shoot off. I know you want to shoot away. And also, guys, if you have any questions, shoot them in the chat box, and I'll be able to fire them off at the end. But Cam, one thing I was gonna say was, realistically, what did it actually take to do this? Like, how many hours were you putting in a day? Like, what level of planning did you do for this? In terms of, like, casting the vision, you know, like, how often did you have to do that? Like, what did it actually take to get this up and going?
Yeah. So for me, what's really, really huge is creating. Yeah. Am I too loud? Sorry, it was my trainer. So what for me personally, I believe your social presence is the number one key for your success in this business, because people buy from people they know, like, and trust. And whenever you're showing up in a way that people aspire, if they aspire to have to stay at home with their kids' lifestyle, or they aspire to travel, or they aspire to have that body, you're more inclined to get more clientele. You know what I mean? So I find that my number one thing is social presence. And whenever I change my social media, everything changed. So that was the number one thing. Number two, people would be shocked if they saw me working. Like, I was working from bed today. I mostly work from bed. I also say that I work part-time and I live full-time. So I always come from a space of creativity, and I think in a creative space. I don't believe, you know, if I'm working 12 hours a day, I'm going to get 12 hours of work done. You know what I mean? That's not how I operate. So how I even came up with the BBB thing was, I was laying on a beach bed at Finn's when I came up with that idea. And then I went home and I drew it out, and I made the plan on paper, and that's whenever I started planning and implementing it for a week. But for me, it's not about the amount of hours, but the amount of time I'm spending in a creative space, because that's what really drives your business.
Yeah. And so I love that point, that your full-time lifestyle and part-time business, right? And that's such a cool thing, because this is designed to fit into the cracks of our lives. It's not designed to be another job, right? But I think it's just really good to know what level of work actually goes behind it. So what type of hours were you doing, do you think, in the build up to this? Were you working 16 hours? Were you working like up until 2 a.m. in the morning? What was going on?
Yeah. So me personally, I couldn't tell you how many hours I work just because I work all the time. Like there's never a switch off for me ever. But during the push week, it'll be from the time I wake up to the time I go to sleep. So I woke up at 4:30 this morning to record the Facebook Live. And from that live, I've been working until now. And I will be working until I go to sleep all week until I hit my goal. So this week in specific, during a push week, I don't stop working. You know, just because I have a goal in mind and that is what I'm going for. And that's kind of what it takes to really hit the next rank. But personally, on a day in, day out basis, there's never really a time when I'm just not working. And it's just like if I am laying at the beach at Fins, I'm on my phone shooting out messages, or I'm creating content. It's just an all the time thing for me. But also in the beginning, with that being said, I just did it in the pockets of my time. At the end of the day, it is what you make of it. So whenever I first started, I had a nighttime job. So I worked from like 8 p.m. until 3 or 4 a.m. I would go to sleep, and then I would wake up and work on isogenics all day. And then I would go to work all night and work on isogenics all day. And then after 4 months, I created an income where I could just move to Mexico.
And what's the outcome? Like, obviously this is, you've worked really hard. So what's the outcome? What are you starting to see now? Like, you're starting to see, obviously, cycles increase. You're obviously getting more residual income. The bonuses, isoderm is something you're probably looking to win.
Yeah, so I guess for me, I always had that drive, and I know I have a bigger vision, and I think vision really plays a huge part in building this business. And I know everyone's like, what's your why, but beyond your why, what is your grander vision? So where do you see yourself, not this year, not next year, but 3 years from now? What's your vision 5 years from now? And it's like, basically, it's not a short-term game, and I'm aware of that, and I feel like a lot of my generation, you know, wants the quick money now, whereas I know, like, I'll put in all this effort now, and it's going to pay me in the future. So I always keep my vision in my head, and that is my fire and my fuel to keep me going day in and day out. I never get burnt out.
Yeah. And that's such an important point, because I remember Michael Klaus saying that the money you get paid this week will be for the work you did 12 months ago.
Yeah. Also, like, I know there's going to be times when you're frustrated. Obviously, that's a given with any business. You have your ups and your downs. It's not a straight line. It's zigzagged all over the place. And for me, I was like, where's my ace? Where's my runner? Where's the next person that's like me, who I can run with, and we can be best friends and run together? And just like the numbers don't lie, it's 1 out of 100. So I enrolled about 100 people before Hope was the person that ran with me. And that's just the numbers. Same with Morgan, who enrolled me, he enrolled about 100 people until I came on board. And then I just took off. You know, it's a numbers game, the whole entire thing. And when you think of it like that, and what's really, really cool is, Morgan made this point, every single no is worth $25. Because I forget what the math was, but every single no is worth $25. So when someone tells me no, I completely forget about it and I move on. And you have to be ruthless in this as well. Like, I will still follow up with that person. Like, I will message somebody who ignored me like 10, 15 times. I will still message them, and I enroll them months later.
Yeah. That's such an important point. Every no is worth $25, because it's sort of like every time you actually implement and ask that question, $25, $25. Knowing that if you have 100 conversations, 500 conversations, eventually the numbers won't lie. And you can plug them in, you can run some really cool promotions like you talked about, just to create a bit of urgency, to get a bit of people in your team involved. And also it's very duplicatable. So that's all awesome, Cam. Thank you so much for your time tonight. And what I'd like to do is just quickly run through the chat box. So Fib and Laura said that's really cool numbers. What packs were they starting on? Cam, I know you said value pack for the business builders, but what were the other ones getting started on? What packs were you setting them up with?
I'm actually running 3 groups at the moment. So for the BBB, that's a 100 BB pack. So this is for somebody who wants to rank advance right now, because 100 BB is easy. It's affordable, it's fast, and you can create momentum with that. So 100 BB packs, of course, you're going to be able to enroll 23 if you talk to X amount of people. So that is beautiful if you want to rank advance and you want to rank advance now as a team and rise up your leaders. And then for the Start Your Life, the Gen Y Not group that I'm doing, I wouldn't recommend, like, I know I started on the value pack to get started, so everyone has to start on the value pack. There's no exceptions. That's the standard. That's what it is. So that is the one for that pack. And then, so basically the BBB thing that I did 3 weeks ago, we're doing a round 2. So we're having that going. So if anybody wants to do that again, that's 100 BB packs. But then we're also offering a summer bod squad to people in the United States. So if you did the 2-week challenge but want to continue your efforts, you get started on the Pace Setter pack, which is the middle pack. It's $3.99, and that's above the basic pack. In between the value and the basic pack is in the middle. So we have all 3 of those going on right now, but it's basically 100 BB, 184 BB, or the 320 BB.
Okay, awesome. I think we've got something similar in Australia. I like how you've given them the 3 options, and then you can let them choose. Yeah, and that's important for buying choice, and it's a really cool marketing thing as well, guys. So the last thing as well is, Mandy said, once you added them to the content page, what are they seeing? Is it isogenics related info, or more before and afters, more social proof? What is it?
So the content page, like, okay, so the actual group page, so for everybody, like, it's there's 800 people in it. So we have the thread going every single week. So every single day there's a different thread. So before and after, picture with your shake. What are you grateful for today? Picture of you working out. Picture with you with your cleanse. Picture of your favorite snack. Like, these are all things that go out over the 2 weeks. Also, every single day we did a live workout. And I also created an ebook of workouts, and people are like, oh my God, workouts. But honestly, I just copied and pasted from Google into a Canva. So I had that, leverage.
Yeah.
So I had that, and we had the lives every single day, so super, super interactive. And then for the content page for our teams, again, we also went live to explain what we're doing and the campaign that we're holding. And Biafore is really big on campaigns if you look that up on YouTube. So we talk about the campaign and what we're doing, and we give them the template so they don't have to do anything other than do exactly what we said. And then they get enrollments.
Yeah. And I guess from 800 people that join that group, it sounds like, if you're looking at 100 new enrollments in your team or 200 new enrollments from that, that's pretty good, yeah?
Yeah, because why there were so many people and it got overwhelming is because in the thing we said BYOB, which is bring your own bestie, because we were encouraging consultants. It was like BYOB, receive $100, because it's $100 bonus at the moment in America. So who wouldn't want to bring 2 friends for $100, if you know what I mean? So people were inviting their friends, who were inviting their friends, who were inviting their friends, who were inviting their friends. So I was enrolling people I didn't even know.
Yeah, that's epic, man. And again, guys, there's so many like cool little nuggets about, the planning, the commitment, the decision to do it with finding one business builder out of 100 enrollments, having 130 conversations, creating funneling into a group, getting the group to actually give content. So you're giving before you're asking to get, and holding that space for a long enough period of time that 23 people eventually end up and decide to start after giving Facebook Lives and a lot of content each day. And I guess and the other cool thing as well, just to touch on, Cam, is how you did it for product users and product sharers, but then you also did a different campaign or a different promotion for business builders. So you were able to accurately sort of find your target markets as well, which is another really really cool thing that you did. And also your niche is Gen 1. So you're not targeting baby boomers or anything like that, but you found what works for you, right? Because like you said, you want to find friends that you can run with and do this with. Yeah, and then 2 things. Before this ends is, number 1, if you're wondering where I'm messaging all these people, how I'm getting all these conversations, number 1, I would refer back to my book and just target all my follow-ups. So I would send that message to all of my followers who are already in my book. And then I went to my friends list and I scrolled down as far as I could, and I would start messaging those people. I would also click on like the high school link, so it'd be like friends from high school, and I would message all those people, and then friends from college, and then I would message all those people, and then I would go to like
my friends, mutual friends, who are also my friends from college, but didn't necessarily came up in my friends list because you're general friends that come up at the top. So I'd go in like my best friends list, who are still my mutual friends. So then I would go through our mutual friend list. So that's how I sent out all those messages. I just went in list, or like old friend groups that on Facebook and stuff like that. And that's how I started messaging a bunch of people.
And it was a template. It was the same thing to everyone. So that's so cool and it's so duplicatable, Cam.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm gonna respect your time. I'm gonna respect your time too, Cam, and say thank you so much for joining on. If you want to take yourselves off mute, and you know, if anyone wants to write any comments about any value that you've got from Cam, fire away. But we're gonna set her free. And Cam, also, if we were able to get those templates from you, would that be something you'd be willing to share?
Yeah, I'll just copy and paste them into a group chat or into your chat. Yeah.
Yep. Awesome. And I'll share them in the group.
Yeah.
And we've got Hope there as well. So we'll quickly say hi to Hope. Do you want to add anything, Hope, before we close this off? Just about your quick journey.
I'm sorry we got the time wrong.
Hey, that's okay. We're good.
I'm sorry. I thought it was at 6. But
it's all good.
Yeah, but
I'll just before we shoot off, I was just going to say what's been your journey in 30 seconds, just for the group. Obviously, Cameron's been coaching you, but what's your experience been?
My experience has been, well, I got started on the business side in February, and then I hit exec like last week. So, and I only do this in my free time because I work at a serving job at night. So basically, as soon as I would wake up in the morning, I would start messaging people and posting on social media, like getting content out, following up with people, stuff like that. Just like pretty much all day before I'd go to work.
Yeah.
And I mean, I would message people over and over again, like following up with people. People haven't responded to me like 3 or 4 times, and I'm still following up with them. And then like, it's so crazy how like you think you're being annoying, but those same people that you're messaging like 4 or 5 times, they come back around and they end up enrolling. It's crazy. The BBB challenge was huge.
Yeah. Sorry, you go.
What'd you say?
Sorry, you go. The BBB challenge.
Oh yeah, the BBB challenge helped me rake advance. I had like 2 consultants, and then I went to 10. So if y'all are gonna utilize that, like it's huge.
Yeah. And did you find it easy leveraging Cam, having someone there to just give you templates and keep it real simple for you?
Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't have been able to do it without Cam.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, when I hit director, it was my mindset was it was really bad. Honestly, I was like, nobody's messaging me back. I only have 2 consultants. I was like, how am I gonna get to 6? Like, this is
keep going.
Yeah, I was struggling, and she was like, her and Morgan were like, you got to get your mindset right. Like, you got to start changing your conversation in your head to, why is nobody messaging me back? Why am I not creating consultants? Why is anybody sharing? To, everyone is messaging me. Everyone wants to be a part of my business. Like, people respect what I'm doing, and people want to join. And that changed everything. Like, you just got to keep repeating that over and over.
Yeah. So you shifted your mindset. You did what Cam said. And what's the monetary, just to get an idea, what's the monetary sort of result for you? Like, going to exec, is that like an extra $1,000 a week, $2,000 a week?
It was a $2,000 bonus, but I've probably made close to $8,000 in the past 2 months.
Wow. On top of what you're doing. Yeah, US.
In the US.
Yeah. And this is just the beginning of your business. So what do you see next? Are you just going to keep running the campaigns?
Yeah, we're going to the top, baby.
All right. On that note, Hope, I'm gonna say thank you so much, and thanks for joining us. And Cam, thanks for your time. Thanks everyone that jumped on, and take yourselves off mute and give these girls a bit of love.
Thanks, girls. That was awesome. Jumping on.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Appreciate it.
Can we ask a quick question that just got put in the chat?
Yeah, go for it.
Sorry, babe. What was your belly buster product look like? So obviously, if you were kind of just putting that out there, doing the 30-day cleanse kind of thing of support.
Yeah.
So what is that?
So in America, they came out with the BBB bundle pack. So we utilized that. However, that was only 55 BB. So we also added cleanse, and we also added, what else did we add, Hope?
A canister of shakes.
And a canister of shake.
Okay, so it was the Isopro and some greens and whatever else, and then you added on some bits and pieces.
Yes, it was 100 BB in total. And then we had like a double cleanse day involved in the 2 weeks.
Awesome. And so you were literally throwing that out there to do a 2-week challenge. Is that what you were saying at the beginning? Like a 2-week challenge, get rid of that stubborn belly fat.
Yep.
Awesome.
And so the results were insane. Like people lost like 12 inches around their waist. So they would have a breakfast shake in the morning, the BBB at night, and then they did the double cleanse day, and the results were insane.
So
that's the belly buster, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, just for clarity. Cool.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Their main meals. So 2 meals, 1 shake, and the belly buster. And
Yep.
Beautiful clarity.
And if anybody wants to see the content, you could just add yourself to the group, and you can see everything that we did. I don't care if you guys take the content, you can have it. I don't care. Like we already did it. So it's for anybody. It's called, I'll send Rory the link, the link to the group, and then he can give it to you guys.
Sounds good. Cam, you're a legend.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, guys. Sorry for getting on late.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thanks, Hope.
Thanks, Hope.